Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Squire Valley View Farm of Case Western Reserve University. We're so delighted to have you here on a beautiful summer afternoon to celebrate the Dorothy Ebersbach Academic Center for Flight Nursing, and of course to celebrate the person for whom it is named, the late Dorothy Ebersbach. The University Farm, which is where we are tonight, and as I said, it's actually officially known as Squire Valley View and Valley Ridge Farm, because we acquired it thanks to generous gifts of land from two major donors. And it is 389 acres of forests and ravines, waterfalls, meadows, ponds, lots of natural resources. The two major parcels were actually working farms, both of them. And so if you traveled around, you would see a lot of the aspects of that. I would like to think that Dorothy would approve of us having this event out here. She was a longtime member of her local garden club and chaired its birding activities, and we have a lot of those kind of things going on here. We boast red-winged blackbirds and cardinals and herons and limitless varieties of songbirds, so it actually can be quite a serenade. Maybe we'll get that today when we go outside. You're going to hear in a few minutes from Dean Mary Kerr of the Francis Payne Bolton School of Nursing and others who are going to talk about our flight nursing program and the legacy that Dorothy has created with her gift. But I do want to take a moment to recognize some special guests. Joining us this evening are Gayla Russell, who serves as an Ebersbach trustee, and Gayla's husband, Jim. And they are not only involved with Dorothy and her philanthropy, they were close personal friends, too. So we are delighted to have them with us tonight to share this occasion and celebrate Dorothy's legacy. And you will hear from Gayla in a minute, too. And it is also a great pleasure to welcome many of Dorothy's classmates from the Francis Payne Bolton School of Nursing, class of 1954. They are right here in the front row. That class, yes. That class, 42 graduates, has truly shared a special lifelong bond. In fact, half the class traveled from their homes across the country to attend the 50th reunion in 2004 when they presented the school with a very generous class gift of $88,500. Dorothy was 89 that year, and she made the trip too, just as she had for previous reunions over the years. So I want to say a special welcome to Lucy Jo Atkinson, Joanne Herbst Phillips, Marla Grubshaw-Wilkie, and Barbara Basinger-Wise. So thank you so much for joining us. We also have two special men here with us tonight, representing their wives who sadly passed away and couldn't be with us tonight. But Richard Biley, who is husband of the late Therese Dilla Biley, and Richard Schreck, who is husband of the late Charlene Schreck. So thank you both so much for taking the time. You really have made this special for being with us. So the class of 1954 is a class that we will never forget at Case Western Reserve and at the Francis Payne Bolton School of Nursing. And those lifelong bonds are truly what makes the experience here special. And so we know your being here today means you think so too. We also are pleased to welcome Marlene Anielski, State Representative. Where are you? Ah, yes. Thank you so much for coming. And at Case Western Reserve, we have an amazing board of trustees, and Vice Chair Tim Callahan, who is a member of the committee leading Forward Thinking, the university's billion-dollar capital campaign, also chair of our University Relations and Development Committee, and as I said, Vice Chair of the Board of Trustees, and we are delighted to have him here. Tim, thank you for being with us, and Nancy also. Thank you. So far, Tim and the other members of the university's Capital Campaign Committee have helped us raise $728 million toward our billion-dollar goal, which is far ahead of where we thought we would be at this point in time, so we are really proud of that. And we are fortunate to have some of the other members of our campaign committee with us here, and I want to say to each of you, and you know who you are, thank you so much for your help in making this happen, and Charlene and Ellen, and you, we really are grateful for your help. We have a special legacy at the Frances Payne Bolton School of Nursing because our school is named for Frances Payne Bolton, and the Bolton family has been very involved with us for a long time. Frances Payne Bolton was a member of Congress during World War II and created the Cadet Nurse Corps at the same time that Dorothy was serving her country as a member of the Women Air Force Service Pilots, or the WASPs. You're going to learn more about that in a minute. But I think that it is a remarkable thing that these two incredible women have their legacy intersecting in this way. So we are delighted that this is happening. Now, the $2 million gift that created the Dorothy Ebersbach Academic Center for Flight Nursing also advances the mission of our advanced flight nursing program, and you're going to learn more about that this evening as well. In a few minutes, you're going to hear from the director of both programs, Chris Monach, who's up here. But first, we want to tell you something more about the woman of the hour, the day, the year, Dorothy Ebersbach. And to do that in her own special way, our Dean, Mary Kerr.
I'm Mary Kerr, Dean of Frances Payne Bolton School of Nursing, and I'm also the holder of the May L. Weichel Endowed Professorship. Thank you, President Schneider, for your kind words. And thank you for everyone for coming to Squire Valley Forum today to celebrate the life, the vision, and the generosity of Dorothy Ebersbach. This week, Squire Valley is transformed into a nursing classroom. It is home to our 10th annual flight nursing camp, led by one of our nursing alums, Stephanie Steiner. Thank you, Stephanie, for your hard work this week and sharing this exciting experience with all of us this afternoon. 30 nurses and other emergency health care professionals are here to discover how to take the hospital, the emergency room, the ICU to the patient, whether the patient is at the roadside, from an accident, at a disaster site, or some other remote site. These participants come from across the country, as far away as Japan, through lectures, instructional demonstrations like some of you saw this afternoon when you entered the building, as well as a full-scale mock disaster exercise that will be happening here at week's end. There will be more than 50 would-be disaster victims will be involved. Okay, these campers learn and test their newfound advanced class management skills. So flight camp is one of the most active weeks here at Frances Payne Bolton School of Nursing. I would like to think that Dorothy, a true woman of action, would have preferred this busy and beautiful site over a typical classroom. Dorothy was a college graduate who studied education. She was a private pilot who ferried supplies for her father's construction business. She was an elite WASP during World War II. She was a public health nurse, a devoted gardener, an avid tennis enthusiast, and an active church member. Her classmates, many of whom are here today, can attest that Dorothy, or Dottie as they like to call her, was also a loyal FPB graduate. The entire class of 54 is known for its incredible loyalty and support of the nursing school. And as a new dean, I am very, very grateful to you for that support. Besides her school spirit, Dorothy was also known for her modesty. Many of her classmates were unaware of the fact that she had a record as a pilot in World War II. And they did not realize that until they read about it in the alumni news. So I'm sure that many people have an experience similar to mine when I first met Dorothy. I asked if I may see her Congressional Gold Medal. I was surprised to watch her sitting in her chair, reach over to a small table, pull out the medal, show it to me. She smiled, took it back, and put it back in the little table. And it was there for the next visitor who knew to ask for it, to see it. So we're fortunate to have some of Dorothy's personal mementos with us here today. She had a special charm bracelet, okay? I'm wearing it that illustrates that what she held dear to her. So there's pins on this charm bracelet that have FPB's pin, Okay, it has her World War II Air Transport Command pin, her pin as the president for the Florida Nurses Association, and a charm for the member of the American Association of University Women, as well as her cat and an elephant. So I'm really proud to wear it today. We also have Dorothy's original WASP uniform on display. The uniform speaks to her quiet dignity and dedication to others and the hallmark of a great nurse. So as Dean, I'm thankful to Dorothy and that we get to continue the work of several other visionaries, Chris Monach and May Weichel. Chris conceived this idea of flight nursing program, and May Weichel, my predecessor, encouraged and supported Chris to make his vision a reality. And so the Dorothy Ebersbach Academic Center for Flight Nursing enables us to take that vision even further. But probably Dorothy's greatest gift to the school and to the university is serving as a role model for generations to come. As an aviator, a nurse, a pioneer, Dorothy's story is so remarkable, it needs more than words to do it justice. And so I please direct your attention to the screen for a short video tribute to Dorothy. Dorothy loved flying, she loved nursing, and she loved service. She just went after personal dreams, and she was not letting obstacles get in her way.
It is World War II, and pioneering female aviator Dorothy Ebersbach is chosen for the select group of Women Air Force Service Pilots, or WASPs. She thrives testing planes and towing targets for dogfighting practice.
When you think about the contributions that those women made to the enhancement of human lives across the globe, is remarkable.
After the war, Dorothy charted a course to a life where she could help others in a more direct way, albeit from the ground. She enrolled in the Frances Payne Bolton School of Nursing, where she made lifelong friends.
We had quite a close-knit group. There were 15 years difference in our ages, but that was never a factor. She was just delightful to be around.
After receiving her nursing degree, Dorothy served as a public health nurse until her retirement in 1975. Dorothy's final act of valor was the creation of the Dorothy Ebersbach Academic Center for Flight Nursing.
She loved that nursing school, and in her dining room she had the picture of the graduating class and the reunion classes that she attended. And when this opportunity presented itself, it was a fit for her.
The flight nursing program is the world's first of its kind. Master's level students take advanced clinical courses, participate in mock training exercises, and accompany flight teams on real transport missions.
As the dean of the school, one of the visions is to maintain and expand our role as an innovator in one of the top schools of nursing in the country. And so this will allow us to push the envelope even more.
Dorothy's gift will also provide technologically advanced equipment and support flight nursing research.
This is going to allow many students to be able to have exposure to this kind of care for patients, and I think that it's just the greatest contribution that we can make.
Our responsibility to Dorothy Ebersbach is to ensure the things that she accomplished in service continue in every graduate student that we produce.
Being a flight nurse has been a lifelong dream of mine, and to be part of this innovative program is very exciting. To be a nurse in the first place, you have to have a nursing heart, and flight nursing takes that to the next level.
More than 60 years after Dorothy and her fellow WASPs served their country, each was presented with the Congressional Gold Medal, the highest honor awarded by Congress to a civilian.
She had no idea this was going to happen, and it meant so much to her.
To know that that kind of a spirit is just going to live on in this legacy is very exciting. I'm honored that she chose to do this for us.
Oh, Johnny, please tell me, dear, what makes me love you so?
Wow. Tough act to follow. My name is Donald Marian. I'm a senior clinical consultant for the Department of Defense and Walter Reed Hospital at the Defense and Veterans Brain Injury Center. And I'm so honored to have been asked by Dean Kerr to come and say a few words about service in the military and trauma, traumatic brain injury, which is kind of my background, how I got to know Dean Kerr, and nursing. Certainly Ms. Ebersbach brings all of those together, and I especially am impressed by the service. I just wanted to say a few words about the current conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan and how trauma remains an important problem. There are about 30,000 service members each year that are suffering severe traumatic brain injuries, and most of those, of course, now are occurring in Afghanistan and are due to improvised explosive devices and blast injuries. So some of the injuries are really quite serious: burns, lung trauma, traumatic amputations, and so forth. And flight nursing and aeromedical evacuation of these individuals is a very important issue. There are unique characteristics in the military for injured service members. The blast injuries, and in particular the lung injuries that these service members suffer, which make aeromedical transportation a challenge because of the low oxygen tension and hypobaria or low barometric pressure in the cabins of these aircraft, the noise, the vibration, and so forth. So about 20 years ago almost now, at the 59th Medical Wing in Wilford Hall, they developed what was called the Critical Care Air Transport Team. And currently there are 92 of these CCAT teams, 60 in active duty allocations assigned to 11 different bases around the country. These teams have transported more than 4,000 patients on ventilators with no significant life-threatening complications. And I kind of marveled when I looked at the helicopter and all of the equipment in that helicopter out front, and think to myself, my goodness, you know, this is where we're at, and this is how far we've come. And I can tell you that there are things that the CCAT team could probably learn from Case Western, because I noticed the oxygen equipment, for example, and the endoscopic device you have are not available on CCAT teams at this time. These are big problems. Long-distance flights, for example, from Kabul to Landstuhl is a 6.5-hour flight, over 3,000 miles. Landstuhl to Washington is 4,000 miles, and Landstuhl to San Antonio, where most of the burn victims go, is about 6,000 miles. But nursing in these aircraft are making a huge difference. They're stabilizing airways, treating shock, securing the airway. Surgical bleeding is stopped, fractures are stabilized. Even another, and at least in my view, kind of a remarkable story about nursing in the military is the concussion care centers. It's not as exciting as trauma and traumatic amputations and shock, but concussion care centers in Afghanistan now, just created last year through the work of my colleagues and my boss, frankly, allow concussed service members to be treated in theater, have reduced transport from theater to Landstuhl by 95%, and essentially closed the concussion center. And again, these are largely run by nursing. So a big impact. And so compared to Vietnam, where I was eligible for the draft, and the injured, why are you smiling? The injured to kill rate was 1 to 2.5, or that is 1 death for every 2.5 injuries in Vietnam. Now it's 1 death per every 8 injuries in Iraq and Afghanistan, or Afghanistan now. That's a huge difference, and essentially a 7-fold reduction in the mortality rate, largely due to improved medical care, and in large part, I think, due to improved transport of these individuals. So nursing has made a huge difference in the military. It's fascinating to me to just review the history of military nursing. There was no nursing in the military until 1901 in the Army, and then 1908 in the Navy. Of course, there was no Air Force, true Air Force, until 1947, and then there was an Air Force Nursing Corps in 1949. I didn't realize who the WASPs were necessarily until I had the opportunity to read about Ms. Ebersbach's story, and it was pretty fascinating. I was kind of shocked to realize she wasn't officially a member of the Air Force. I certainly thought she should have been. There were 1,078 flyers, members of WASPs, and that was out of, I guess, over 8,000 women who applied for these positions. So it was a very competitive occupation that Dorothy went into. There were a total of almost 60,000 nurses deployed in World War II, far less, incidentally, in Vietnam, only about 7,000. But then again, 35,000 nurses now have been deployed in Iraq and Afghanistan since the start of the war, in just the Army, 4,000 in the Air Force, and about 1,200 in the Navy. Nurses play a huge role. As I was coming to Mary, I think certainly, as I read Dorothy Ebersbach's story, a little bit of gender discrimination pokes out to me too, and I think it's kind of interesting to look now at your school, and the dean of nursing and the dean of medicine are women, and my boss is a woman, the 43rd Surgeon General of the Army, and Commanding General of the United States Army Medical Command is Patricia Horoho. And Lieutenant General Horoho actually trained at University of Pittsburgh when Mary and I were there in 1992 as a clinical trauma nurse specialist. So small world, I guess. But anyway, thank you so much for this invitation to come and speak to you, and a few remarks about this remarkable woman. Thank you.
President Schneider, I've had the opportunity to finally meet tonight after hearing lots of good things about her from the Cleveland Clinic CEO, Dr. Toby Cosgrove, Dean Kerr, honored guests, terrific class of 1954, and Dr. Weichel, who had the courage to actually start the flight program. It's a pleasure to represent the Cleveland Clinic here today at the dedication of Dorothy Ebersbach Academic Center for Flight Nursing. The Cleveland Clinic, Case Western Reserve University, and the Francis Payne Bolton School of Nursing have a rich history of working together that has allowed Cleveland and Northeast Ohio to become an area that influences healthcare on a global level. The head of our Cleveland Clinic transport team is Dr. Damon Kralovic, who's here with us. And Damon is an interesting guy. He's a physician, he's a nurse, and like most of the members of our team, is a graduate of the Francis Payne Bolton flight program. The Cleveland Clinic was one of the first institutions in the United States to use the nurse practitioner model to transport critically ill patients. Since inception, the Cleveland Clinic program has transferred nearly 20,000 individuals from over 21 countries and almost every state in the United States to Cleveland to receive the specialized care available in northeastern Ohio. We are currently transporting patients on heart-lung bypass across the United States to receive life-saving transplants in Cleveland, when just a few years ago, people would have hesitated to move that patient from one room to another on the same floor in a hospital. Cleveland Clinic also provides a platform from the school's training to help develop the future critical care transport specialists. Today, the partnership of the two institutions and the Dorothy Ebersbach Academic Center for Flight Nursing establishes a new standard for flight nursing excellence and training that will carry us into the future. Critical care transport team trained at the graduate level to care for the most vulnerable patients as they are transported to centers of excellence will benefit the patients, their families, and all of Northeast Ohio. We are excited to be partners with Case Western Reserve University and the Francis Payne Bolton School of Nursing and participate in the very rich legacy of a true American hero, Dorothy Ebersbach. Thank you.
Welcome. I'm Chris Monach, and I have the privilege of being the director of the Dorothy Ebersbach Academic Center for Flight Nursing. And I too would like to welcome everybody and also recognize all of the students that are here tonight and have been here the entire week in this weather, working very, very hard. And so if you can join me in welcoming all of them and the practitioners from the Cleveland Clinic. We've learned a lot tonight about the magnificence of Dorothy Ebersbach. And we learned about her uncommon calls to service, her uncommon call as a pilot during the Second World War, her uncommon call in public health nursing that she did her entire life. She represents, in her entire life's work, the future. As we heard today, prominent positions within our leading healthcare institutions, as well as the military structure, are led by women. And I think that example that Dorothy left for us to continue on in creating the future is really more of the same. She's created the future her entire life by her example. And she's giving much to the world because of that. And we have much to give on her behalf. Because of the work and the partnership under the direction of Dr. Wiley and Dr. Kralovic, we've been able to create a global example, one that is now being replicated in Japan. We have the good fortune of being able to speak with health ministers from around the world, all trying to answer the same question. It's how do we care for a population of patients who are so vulnerable, just to move them could cause their demise? We continue to research that and develop new strategies and techniques in caring for patients. But more importantly, we continue to look at how can we enhance the human condition as a whole, because that's what Dorothy Ebersbach did on many levels by her example. We've begun to look towards the future of critical care transport and to see where the next venues are. Beginning next year, in 2013, anybody with an extra $1 million will be able to take a vacation on the space station. Nobody's yet to figure it out. What do we do when they get sick? We've begun to explore that, and we're actively working on looking at the elements necessary for space rescue and stratospheric repatriation at the School of Nursing to help answer some of those questions. So we're very fortunate, not only for Dorothy and her legacy, but her example. And we're also very fortunate to have you, all of you, as part of our community in creating the future for critical care transport and flight nursing. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Dr. Marian, for your wonderful words about the connection between service and nursing. It's so important, and Dorothy embodies so much of that. And Dr. Wiley, thank you so much. We truly value our partnership with the Cleveland Clinic. Indeed, we couldn't do it without you. So we are delighted that you could be here to celebrate this with us, because this is an incredible opportunity for our partnership to go forward as we think about the future and going to rescue people in space, as Chris just told us. Our campaign and our strategic plan are both called Forward Thinking, so I'm delighted that you're doing just that. I tell people every day it happens on our campus, and I'm glad you're living that. And so now I would like to ask Gayla Russell to come up and say a few words about Dorothy, her longtime friend. You heard a little bit about Dorothy today, but here to speak really for her is Gayla. You see on the sign, aviator, nurse, pioneer, and you also heard something we talk about a lot, and that's the heart of a nurse. And Dorothy truly has that, had that, and we thought no one could better speak to Dorothy and her heart of a nurse than her longtime friend. So Gayla, it's yours.
Thank you, President Schneider. It is wonderful to be here today to witness Dorothy's legacy coming closer to its fullness. She is no doubt smiling down on us and going, oh my. Today, I have with me the Congressional Gold Medal bestowed upon Dorothy by the United States Congress. The Congressional Gold Medal is the highest and most distinguished award Congress can award a civilian. This medal was presented to members of the Women Air Force Service Pilots, WASPs, to convey the nation's gratitude to the bravest, most courageous women in United States military history. These female pilots who served in World War II provided an invaluable service to this country and paved the way for women, both civilian and military. Following World War II, Dorothy Ebersbach attended Western Reserve School of Nursing with a remarkable group of individuals. Many of these classmates became Dorothy's lifetime friends. Some of them are here with us tonight, and I had the wonderful pleasure of meeting all of them. Dorothy was very proud to be a member of the nursing class of 1954. So in honor of Dorothy, her classmates, and friends, I present you Dorothy's Congressional Gold Medal. I have to share with you what she said when she received it. She said she was honored, very proud to receive it, but she said what they didn't understand was the honor was being chosen to serve, and it was her duty to serve. As many of you know, Dorothy made a $2 million gift to endow the Dorothy Ebersbach Academic Center for Flight Nursing last fall. Foster Aldridge and I have served as the co-trustees on her trust. However, I am happy to announce tonight that Mr. Aldridge and I, as co-trustees of the Ebersbach Trust, have decided to give the Dorothy Ebersbach Academic Center for Flight Nursing School an additional $2 million to further support their program. Our very best wishes for a successful program, and thank you for continuing Dorothy's legacy. She's looking down on all of you.
Gayla, thank you so much. We will treasure the Congressional Gold Medal and display it proudly in our nursing school, along with the WASP flight uniform, to honor Dorothy's brave and selfless service to our country and her legacy at the Francis Payne Bolton School of Nursing. And I want all of you to know that in addition to her previous gift and other gifts, Dorothy has actually given a total of $4.7 million to the Francis Payne Bolton School of Nursing. So Gayla, thank you, truly from the bottom of our hearts. It's a great number, and I promise that we're going to do really wonderful things with that support, and that you will be proud. And actually, we hope you'll be back, because we will. And we will want to share it with you. So thank you to all of you for coming. We have some more food and drinks for you out there, and hope you will enjoy those. I'm going to ask the class of 1954, all of you, including the gentleman, please stay. We're going to do a couple pictures, and all of you right here, please stay with us and let us do a couple of pictures, and then I promise we'll get them right out to be with all of you. Thank you all so much for coming today.